Good afternoon and welcome to our Coffeehouse Peace Talks. We are continuing to talk about unity and coming together, but God is really calling us to reach out into the harvest. And so today we're going to take a lesson from Peter. We are going to really we're going to learn from his mistakes when it comes to reaching the harvest. Now, of course, we are talking about pre-Pentecost Peter. Peter, before the Holy Spirit falls on him in fire, tongues of fire and power and all of that, because we know, of course, after that time, he becomes an amazing leader and reaches out the way the Lord would have him to. But prior to that time, we still see him learning, he's struggling, he's got some flesh, and he's a great example for us because he was one who would take risks. Other disciples would be thinking things and not say anything. Peter would say what everybody was thinking, and then it gave an opportunity for Messiah to correct him or to share whatever additional revelation needed to be shared. And so this is why we're able to really learn from him. Because in this season, the Lord is really calling us to reach out to those that he wants to bring in. He's always wanted a harvest. All of us are called to the Great Commission. But we know, of course, during the time of the shaking, that there are people who are going through challenges and that will continue to increase until Messiah returns. And people have questions. They want to know, where is God in all of this? What is God's plan for my life? And then there are others who he just wants to bring them into a place of salvation. There are yet others he just wants us to demonstrate his love, whether we choose to be saved or not. And this is what heals communities. This is what brings unity. And so he is talking to us about starting first with us. It's easy in our Coffeehouse Peace Talks to look at what other parties are not doing right. And if this group would just do this, and this group would just do that. And every now and then we kind of veer that way a little bit. But we want to make sure that we're allowing God to really show us what we can do better. And if each one of us is evaluating in that type of way, we will grow and become the people that he has called us to be. So here we are. We are going to look at 7 things that we see Peter did not do exactly according to the Lord's heart when it comes to reaching the harvest as he was being trained by Messiah. We keep in mind he was in training. Whenever I talk about anybody in the Bible, most of them are personal friends of mine. That's how I feel because of the way I spend, the time I spend in the Word. And I've learned and grown so much from men and women in the Bible, and so it's important that we speak of them with grace and honor, but we're still learning from his mistakes as well. And so this is kind of the way I talk about my friend Peter, who I can't wait to meet. And I'm just excited about the model and the example that he has left for all of us. All right, so we're going to start with the first lesson that we're learning from Peter when he was afraid to launch out into the deep. So this is what we're going to look. We're starting in Luke chapter 5. We start starting in Luke chapter 5. And for each one of these, of course, there's a scripture. If the discussion kind of keeps going, I may actually just give reference to the scripture as opposed to actually reading it. We're starting in Luke chapter 5, where the Lord actually is kind of introduced to Peter, and he tells him to launch out into the deep. We've actually received recent revelation and words about launching out into the deep, and so the Lord has just really been putting this on our hearts strong. We didn't get it before, hopefully we get it now, because he's showing us just so clearly here. So in the complete Jewish, it reads, one day, starting in verse 1, in Luke 5, one day as Yeshua was standing on the shore of Lake Kinneret, with the people pressing in around him in order to hear the word of God, he noticed 2 boats pulled up on the beach, left there by the fishermen who were cleaning their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Shimon or Simon, and asked him to pull out a little way from shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. When he finished speaking, now he is in Simon's boat. Remember that. The Lord is sitting in Simon's boat and he was speaking to the people. So the Lord has already been fishing. See what I mean? The Lord has already been fishing for souls in Simon's boat. Now he has an object example for Peter, okay? And so he says, put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. This is what Yeshua is saying to Simon. Shimon answered, we've worked hard all night, Rabbi, and haven't caught a thing. But if you say so, I'll let down the nets. They did this and took in so many fish that the nets began to tear. So they motioned to their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both boats to the point of sinking. When he saw this, Shimon Kepha fell at Yeshua's feet and said, "Get away from me, sir." And other versions say, "Lord, because I'm a sinner." For astonishment had seized him and everyone with him at the catch of fish they had taken. And likewise, both Yaakov, or James, and Yochanan, John, Shimon's partners. "Don't be frightened," Yeshua said to Shimon. "From now on, you will be catching men alive." As soon as they had beached their boats, they left everything behind and followed him. Now, I'm going to give you a little background because I love the way the Gospels kind of work together, the synoptic Gospels. What we see is that the two sets of brothers are all fishermen. Peter's brother is Andrew, who is not mentioned here, but we see him in the book of John. So we'll talk about him a little bit soon in Matthew too. So Peter and Andrew work in a fishing business with Peter's father. This is where they kind of inherited from, so they're fishermen. Then we see John and James also are fishermen. Now the two younger brothers, which are going to be Andrew and John, those two follow John the Baptist. We see that in the book of John. They were followers of John the Baptist. When they were following John the Baptist and Yeshua walked by, he said to them, "There's the Lamb of God." And then when he came the second time, he says it again, and they received kind of permission from John to go follow Yeshua. They follow behind him and say, "Rabbi, where are you staying?" And he says, "Come and see." So they follow him, and they start to follow him from that point on. It's John and Andrew who bring Yeshua to these shores where their brothers are, where Peter is and where James is. And so when they bring Yeshua to the shores, now he's already been teaching some. He was teaching some over there in the Jordan River when he had been immersed, where God had immersed him. He was teaching a little over there. Now he's here to see Galilee, and he's teaching, and he incorporates these fishermen's livelihood. He was always one to give parables and other lessons. He's trying to teach something. He's trying to show something. So now they've been fishing all night, because fishermen in Israel fish at night. We don't know about that here in the United States because our waters are murky as all life. In Israel, you can see through the water. You can literally see daytime. Like, it's so beautiful. The water's so clear. You can't fish in the daytime because they will see the boat, the net, everything. You ain't about to catch a fish in the daytime in Israel. Because they can see everything. The fish can see right through the water. They see everything you're trying to do. So fishermen have to fish at night. This is why Simon said, "Lord, we worked all night long and didn't catch anything." So basically what he's saying is, I've been a fisherman my whole life, and we fished when you're supposed to fish. We did everything we're supposed to do, and it didn't work. Wow. Now you're telling me to do something that they tell us when we're little boys. See you. Like, they've been taught this their whole lives. Don't fish in the daytime. You're not gonna catch anything. And he says, "This is what you're telling us to do now in the middle of the day, sun is high in the sky, where the fish can see us. This is what you're telling us to do." And so the Lord, because they caught a lot of fish after, the fishermen hadn't caught any fish. We don't understand how it's even more miraculous that you're not supposed to be able to catch fish in the daytime. So not only are they catching fish, but they're catching a ridiculous amount of fish at the time when you're not supposed to be able to catch fish.
That right there. No, I'm saying, like, I never heard it that way.
I never heard that.
You said just now, if I could try to, not verbatim, you said that a miraculous thing happened to be able to catch fish at a time when you're not supposed to be able to.
Right.
That's a right now word.
That is right now word. Absolutely.
That's a right now word.
Wow. Feel free to keep.
Like it just, no, I'm listening because you gotta keep going so that way he can give you more revelations into what, I mean, like it just stood out. You know what I'm saying?
And this is where, because remember this first lesson that we're getting from him about, the mistakes that he made and about the harvest is that he was afraid to launch out into the deep, because the instruction was launch out into the deep. So he's saying, you're telling me to go against all logic, wisdom, and reason and go into the deep waters where I've already been out there and I'm telling you that's gonna happen. And this is where you're sending me at. And do this. And this is what the Lord is telling all of us in this season. He is giving us instructions that do not match up with anything.
Okay, so, all right. And we're gonna catch fish. We're not gonna just catch the normal amount of fish. We're gonna catch a supernatural amount of fish at a time when you shouldn't even be able to catch it. So what is the equivalent of that time in where you can correlate that to?
That's good.
To me, it relates to us having such a revival that we're into the kingdom in the Western world, because it happens in the East, it happens in Africa, it happens in Asia underground. It doesn't happen in the Western world. Not only is it not happening in the Western world, but we haven't seen it like that in 2,000 years. So for it to come in, for a harvest like that to come in, and not only, if you put that in line with the Kingdom of Workshop we were just talking about, it not happening in church revival meetings. It's happening at business meetings. It's happening at community gatherings. It's happening in arenas where people are supposed to be in those.
Right. So okay, so the correlation to kind of hone in, you could say it's not just at a time, but maybe also at a locale where you wouldn't even expect to see. Wait, this is not.
Out to me is the fact that, remember, they had come back in.
Okay.
So they weren't in deep waters.
They were in shallow waters.
Right.
Okay.
So for me, that stands out because it's like, wait a minute, they weren't even waiting. They had tried to go and watch the next, so they were. It wasn't just the fact that it was a miraculous at the time of the day, but it was the fact that the location was because it.
You got to give me a correlation, a connection to something.
So it's like being down in Dallas at the Dome and everybody there gets saved.
Wow.
During the
Football game, right? Football game. Not your own celebration.
That's what I mean.
Like this was word, you know, a time that we're living in, people have, they don't think God is real no more.
Right,
Yes.
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, people are just doing anything they want.
Yeah.
Like the days of, what do you say, the days of
No. Yeah.
We are actually living the days of
No, that's what he said. It'll be like.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm relating it what you asked me to what she said.
Wow.
You know, like, you know, these people gonna see Christ in us.
Right. But the challenge to us then is, where is the deep that he is calling you to? It ain't in the church house.
Come on,
It ain't in your regular environment.
I already know.
Where is it?
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Because that's how these people, you know, when you talk on the phone about business and stuff, you know, with credit pay and all that, like, I was like, wow, you know, and God is just opening doors, and that's not church, that's out there in the marketplace, you know,
In the
like we were talking
marketplace.
about.
And what we've got to notice, what he is showing us, is that Peter was hesitant. He was afraid to launch out into the deep, and he wasn't being foolish. No, it's not gonna work. And we all have to know we have stuff in our minds that is opposing what God is telling us to do in this season. We're telling him that ain't gonna work. Yes, ma'am.
If you look at it from a spiritual, natural, and natural perspective, it's like Peter was going through a time of shaking just at that moment. So what I'm hearing God say is, what are you going to do in the midst of the shaking? to be cleansing us so that we will be more clear and be more of the light, so people will see that while their lives are shaky, they'll know what to run to. They're not prepared because we still got stuff all over us. They're not gonna run to us. So, man.
Okay, so, all right, so this is what's gonna happen to me, and God's been shaking me recently. The shaking has, looked like, okay, so I got my motorcycle license, right? And I'm like, okay, now I wanna get a motorcycle. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go and, try and save up the money. I went through all the different ways that I would go about it. Save money, get money from, my pops or whoever, or, take out a loan. Couldn't get a loan. One thing led to another. God was showing me that, I was getting frustrated. And I felt like, God, why are you blocking me? But it wasn't blocking me. What he was doing was, he was allowing me to become so frustrated that I would look for other creative avenues, solutions. Think outside the box. See, what happened is I became comfortable with thinking, you have this problem, then this is a mode of attack to address that particular issue. But God was saying, no, I'm a creative God. I have multiple ways to address anything. And I need you to not limit me by sticking to your limited ideas about how to go about this thing.
That's right.
See? And so that for me was the shaking. The shaking was shaking myself free, shaking the blinders off. Now I can see, oh, whoa, this stuff, 360. This, oh wow, God, it's all over the place, not just like this, tunnel vision. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's what the shaking looked like, breaking me out of the routine, of I do this, I got my battery, or whatever. And so that's how that looks for me.
And what's amazing about it, because this is what I know about it, is the solution he's presenting to you will actually pull you into the harvest. It doesn't just solve your problem.
Talk about you. Okay, so I've been working with a company, paying them good money every month to work on my credit, right? They had good ratings and all that, and but they were dragging their feet because they want to get that money every month. So I was just like, keep calling. It seemed like when I would call them, then they would move a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not calling them, then they start that snail thing again. Long story short, I said, you know what? I've been with y'all for over a year or so now, and so I stopped paying them, and then it's like, I don't know what they did. So I said, okay, I was frustrated about my credit situation, and couldn't get a loan, and I was getting frustrated about it. But that frustration created an awareness. The awareness is, I really need this credit situation to straighten out. So what happened was I was on social media. I was on one of the pages for it was like Black something, like Black. Woman had posted about her business. She does credit repair, but she also has a business opportunity connected with it. It's not just that they have these services where they become a rep and actually do the same thing for other people. That I was just calling about services because I wasn't satisfied with the company I've been dealing with. But then she threw something else into the mix. She was like, yeah, well, would you also be interested in? I never thought about it. I talked to her, checked out the web, checked everything out, AAA rating. Everything. It's okay, this is legit. And did my own, poor man's investigation, And long story short, I spoke to her on the way, and she sent me an email. We talked to her on the phone on the way here. I was like, wow, look at God. So God is not only gonna help me to get my credit squared away. Now I will have a business. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So he had to create the frustration to create the awareness.
Yes.
The frustration.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, because you don't pay attention to something if it doesn't piss you off, if it doesn't frustrate you. You know what I'm saying? Until it causes you a problem. But then now.
And you know the difference with the type of company you were with versus the type of rep you're gonna be. Exactly. There's two different types of credit repairs out there, but you gotta know which one is one, because one that have you paying, and they put it, but they haven't settled yet with the credit card company. So this is why you don't really see a big difference with your credit. Whereas if you do what you're talking about doing, then you're doing more. It's more, and then you, the company you were with, it takes longer because they take a good portion of the money that you're putting into the so-called account.
Right.
And the tax is to get people to say that is not in letters saying we dispute this debt. And if the people don't write back, then they wipe it off, whether it was good debt or not. We don't know, but that's the goal. So this is why the score goes up and down, up and down, up and down, because you steady not dealing with the actual debt.
Find out what they're willing to settle.
Dealing with the debt itself, which is that's what's biblical, is to actually deal with it. And so it's just beautiful the way God is working this out. And then if you guys remember what I told y'all, out of that, build the business. So then if they got credit issue, what happens?
Right there.
You see what God is doing? Like, that's just crazy. Yes.
Will we consider this a beginning of this tribulation?
I consider it, because like I said, Peter's my friend. I consider it the beginning of his training. And the reason I say training is because he teaches you things. See, most times we think of training as just pouring in, but he is teaching you and pouring in. The Lord was allowing to come to the surface things that needed to come out of Peter. Those things could go to the next level. It's like boot camp. Boot camp is training. They tear you down, but they're building you up too, because the stuff has got to go. So that when you get older, you are a Marine. You know you're in it.
Because the Lord gave me something a couple of weeks ago. I was frustrated. I mean, just frustrated about something. You got the glory. He said, stop fighting the tribulation because you're irritating the patience.
That's good.
And this perfect word that you don't lack nothing, but you keep fighting me in the tribulation. Stop fighting the tribulation because you're irritating. Okay, Father.
And put that on a button.
I am.
No, put that on a t-shirt. Yes.
I'm like, oh my God. You can't laugh this season.
Yes.
And you fighting against black tribulation.
That I told y'all is on kingdomofllc.com. That the first part of it is about why you're feeling depressed. And what is it that he is doing with that? All of us are feeling it. It's not just you. Different stories. The reality is, the lower we go, the higher he can bring us. He's trying to lift us up. You know what I mean? We try to stand up on our own. What we're supposed to be doing is allowing him to bring us up. That's something he's doing in it. You're so funny.
I'm telling you, I don't even know. I tell people I have no idea when I hear Tim Brewer.
Yeah, I don't even. You're so busy now.
And it's like, Can I have one day where I can stay at home and not have to watch sports or this? Just one day.
Yeah. Praise God. Oh, yeah.
Can I mention about this focus? I told you about the focus.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
When we had the. On the priesthood.
I heard.
Okay, yeah. Call, possibly you got me to pray at the end. But what I didn't share with her later on was that some of the experience during the day, second grade, I think it was second grade. Well, what happened was, some of the kids would come up to me and they would whine and complain about the other students. And they would say, oh, they hit me, whatever the case was. I would tell them, okay, ignore them. I eventually told them, okay, ignore them, or turn around so you don't see their face. So, but then I also mentioned, I said, if they keep at teacher, so I had them know that, okay, you can tell a teacher. Well, certain things kept happening throughout the day, and then it was like, all right, from after lunch, and I'm like, okay, focus. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just like, I needed to show them to stay focused regardless of what was going on. So I had, there was 5 tables, so I hit a student from each table at different times. And literally in front of me, I had the child I was talking with the child, and I told him eventually, that code, you have to write it down on the board. So while I was talking to the child, the assistant in the classroom, she would call each table up and all of that. And it just kept happening. So the child kept looking at me the entire time. How old are you? And they'll say, I'm 8. And I said, you have any brothers and sisters? Yeah. And so the kids in the classroom are coming around them, picking cheese and trying to get them off focus. But the years old says yes, and I have Anthony, and I said, yeah, and they'll say 3, and then I said, the code is 7532. Say that, 7532. No, all the entire time, the kids are around them, picking with them at me the whole time. So when I would tell them the code, then we'd go back to our conversation while the other kids, each table would come up. So I did that total of 5 times, and then after that, each time they would go write it on the board. But in the midst, call, God reminded me, and that for us to stay focused, and that regardless of what the enemy is doing around us, our eyes are supposed to be locked on God the entire time. Right. Now, in the midst of some of that, some of the kids would walk in front of us, and what I had to do was get the line side with them. And then sometimes, even though like the other kids were like yelling, anything of that, those children had touched the child that I was telling them to focus on, I stepped in. Okay. So if the child got in front, I told them to move. Okay. When those children would touch that child, I would speak up for them and tell them to move or whatever. Right. The child, but they couldn't step in front of us, and they couldn't touch them. So that's what God was revealing for that time of prayer. But then when I was praying, it's like focus. That is, for the Ecclesia 2020 is focus, and that we can't be distracted by what's God and
time, but he's telling us, okay, and your code is green turtle.
Green turtle.
Green turtle. Say that with me. Green turtle.
Did you know?
I know.
You don't know.
Oh.
Holy turtle. That's it's so much so that even in a prophecy, that a famous, I was going through something, I had a conversation with God. This prophet don't know me from Adam. Within the prophecy, he said what he said.
He's got a seal of God on the back.
She heard the whole bunch of them before. That turtle, that's my symbol. It's a Hawaiian symbol. It's the home, you know.
Oh.
And that is, you know.
And green turtle showed up on our first date. Are you serious? Yes. Literally came and walked up to us.
When I go fishing, my whole life, I never catch a fish. Guess what I catch?
Turtles.
Turtles.
And God is blessing him with patience.
But you know, that makes me think about Peter, when Peter stepped off the boat. You know, his
Amen.
focus was
The focus had to be the Lord. Yes.
His focus was
Yes.
safe.
And this is what's so Lord had to do with the kids. Our job is to focus on the Lord. But the Lord had a job. The Lord, he commits to us that he will not let anything come between us and that nothing can touch us. Touch not my anointing to do my prophets no harm. And this is how I flow when I flow in deliverance. It's like, I know you can't. Devil. I know my job, but you can't touch me. You can say everything you want to say, but you can't touch me. And I know. And it's like we have to know that as God's people. When he sends us into the deep, our job is to focus on him, knowing that he won't allow anything to separate us from him, and that the devil can't touch us. He can talk smack, and he will talk a lot of smack, and he will try to get us distracted, he will try to put doubt in our ears, but he can't touch us. The only thing that can get us off track is us, if we decide to turn around. It's the only thing that gets. We need to know that in these times, because he will come right up in your face. You know what I mean? But he can't touch you.
I thank you for sharing that. Oh, Lord. That means thank you very much.
Okay. Karibu in Swahili. Nice. These guys, Christ, man. Amen. All right, so that one, I think we have thoroughly digested that one. That was the number one. That's the second one. Yeah, that's the second one. Okay, so let's go. We're going to see the second one that the Lord has shown us. Matthew chapter 16.
To Matthew.
Yeah, we'll be in Matthew most of the time, but that particular thing, one time in the deep, is only in Luke. That's why we had to be. That Peter's, this is where Peter declares, thou art. Who do you say I am? And everybody says all types of stuff. And then Peter says, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And the Lord says, flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. But we remember about 2 seconds after that, the Lord tells them that he must go to Jerusalem and he must die. And then he will be raised back. We'll start at verse 22, because this is Peter's response. It says, Peter took him aside and said, this shall never happen to you. And I'm reading out the NIV. Jesus turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, merely human concerns. He's not just talking to Peter. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross, save their life or lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange? With his angels, then he will reward each person according to what they have done. So we see in the beginning, again, this is pre-Pentecost Peter, he was not willing to sacrifice completely. He got the revelation. Either he was the only one who got it or the only one who was brave enough to say it. But he received the revelation from the Father that this was the Messiah. The Lord said flesh and blood had revealed it to him. So he's receiving from God who this is. But then, after the Spirit has spoken to him, the next thing we see is, and it's not about his own sacrifice. He is afraid that he's going to lose the Lord he just found. It's like, I just found you, and I was scared of you at first. And now we're getting close, and what? What you mean you're going to have to go? That can't be right. That can't be right. That the Lord is calling us to die daily. Peter not only had his own reasoning at work, which we'll see in most of these as his own reasoning. That's about reasoning. More than just reasoning, there was a fear. And we're going to see that fear played out later on. He was afraid to. So each one of us, we have to address our reason, but we also have to address our fear, because the deep that God is calling us to, remember, everybody's got their own deep. There's one particular harvest for the whole body, and that's really the whole world. Launch out to the deep, he's telling us specific things. But we've got to fight our reasoning, and then we've also got to fight our flesh, because we will have to sacrifice. We will have to die in some kind of way. Know this is the beautiful thing. We're designed for this. Whatever is your deep, you're designed to go into that place. But the devil in your flesh will probably be telling you most of your life, don't you go in there. Don't you go there and be like this. Don't you go there and say this. You that have been at work to keep trying to get a lunch. And you're going to have to die, or we're going to have to die. I'm talking to myself too. We're going to have to die to the carnal thinking, because he said you have in mind the things of man, the concerns of man, not the concerns of God. That arena, why can't you just send me to your people? He said, because they're scattered among all of them. Why do you care about backlash? They don't know you. They're not helping you. They're not taking care of you. And I'm like, logically, I know that. That's usually how I feel. You go get it. So you got to die to yourself, and if you're thinking carnally, who cares? If they put some notes on your Facebook page or whatever, who cares? They got comments, because I get that all the time. I do it. I delete. Who cares if people don't like what you're saying, what I'm telling you to say? Who cares? Why do you care? That's things of this world. That's things of man. I need you to care about the things of God, which is I got people in there that I need you to go get. That's what I need you to care about. And this is what each one of us has, things that we're thinking about. This is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I need you to come up higher than that. And I need you to care about the things I'm caring about. Because what I'm caring about will carry you right through the things you're afraid of, and on the other side of it, you'll actually get the things that you care about. Yes.
Yeah. It's important to actually ask yourself that question and pause long enough to receive, a clear answer from God about what is why do you actually care? Why do you care about what people may think or remarks they may make about whatever it is that you're doing? Because take the time to examine it. I think that you'll come back to that crossroads again.
Yes.
You keep coming back to it until you identify clearly whatever it is that is a challenge for you in relation to that, and actually deal with it. You got to find out what it is, and then you got to be honest with yourself. And I'm challenged with this particular childhood, something that you developed a way of looking at yourself that is less than obviously how God views you, or something, whatever it was that happened in your psyche that caused you to care about things.
Perceived warfare that you're gonna experience.
Yep.
That's, I would say from a spiritual perspective, it's the warfare. You know, it's about beyond the power, and you know what that's going to entail. And so, a thing of, I mean, I think about how the enemy can or will try to surround you on all sides, and you so that you can be protected. But I can say that a lot of times it's the warfare.
Warfare, but like for me, I have to get real specific with myself. You know, I have to really get to the core issue. For me. When this happened, you know, at such and such a date and time, the person, whatever they said, translated in my little mind as you know, you're less than, or you're not worthy, or you are somehow, or something like that, you know. And so I may not have been conscious of it at the time, but that's what I believe. So now this person comes on my Facebook and they make a comment and it somehow resonates, you know, and it goes back to that, connects back to that false belief of you're not worthy or whatever it is, you know. So now what it does is it's a domino effect. It starts stirring some things in me that I've accepted or I believe that, and I got to deal with that. I'm not going to be able to move, not another inch until I reconcile it with myself.
Absolutely. And that is where I think I don't remember we were talking about maybe last week, but I was saying we have to go into the Gethsemane.
I gotta get it down right.
Yeah. That's where that happens, is in the Gethsemane. Like Yeshua hit it head on. When he did not want, he didn't want it to the Father's will. He addressed it. He didn't go, well, you know, let me just go ahead and keep walking until I get the courage. No, he paused, went into the garden. That he was in agreement with God's will. And that's what I was doing Thursday when I text y'all, pray for me. That was where I was wrestling. And the way I felt like Jacob wrestling for the blessing, but the blessing was, I want to agree with you. That was what, because right now I don't agree, and I'm not going to get off this place. I was fasting all day, so I'm not eating, I'm not doing anything until you bring me into agreement with you, because I want to agree with you. And he was able to do it. He was well able to do it. And the reality is, it's not a one-time thing. We got to keep addressing it.
In my situation, one situation, you know, it came up. There was a false belief that I had that God wasn't really for me. You know, that he was exactly, but the feeling like
He was against you.
yeah, kind of like, you know, you just want me to do your will, but you ain't really gonna protect me. You ain't really gonna, you know, be here for me. Wall or going to see serious opposition. Are you really gonna be there? See, that was the lie or the fear. Then I could be agreed. So I mean, it's just a different battles and thoughts, you know, and so many different random different things come up, different things at different times.
Acknowledge and understand about the process is every time we go to another level, we're going to see new stuff in us. It's not new to us, it's been there, but it's that level that's bringing it out. And other levels didn't bring it out.
That's like what Uncle Sam was saying about the shaking. That's what I was saying.
Yes.
The shaking to me is that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff that was you know? And, you know, you just felt a little you felt some discomfort, but it was underneath the skin, but then it started wiggling out. And I see that expensive now. Now you pull it out, whatever, shard of glass, whatever.
Yes.
You know, but it takes the movement, the shaking, it takes the friction, it takes all those things to bring it out to the surface where you can actually have it extricate.
Okay, so when you talk about shaking, so because I relate to food, I think of sifting. And to me, sifting is a form of shaking. So like when you go to sift flour, it appears as though there's no lumps or anything in it. But as you keep sifting, or then some pans just allow you to bump it and you shake, and you'll see where the flour sits. And then it goes through. You'll see the lumps that are there. To me, the lumps that are the sin or that thing that's wedged in there. But you wouldn't see it when you're looking at the whole. It takes you to literally go through the sifting to find those things. But also, there's a refinement that happens with that sifting, you know, that also happens. So to me, when I heard the initial word back last year about the shaking, like an earthquake, and things being dislodged and moved out. For me, it was also the sift take place. So when you put flour in, you can have flour in there, and if you keep sifting the same set of flour, you actually refine it even more and more and more. And so that's the one thing that I've seen in this process is even with God saying, okay, here's some burnt offerings I want you to do. Now, a couple of my burnt offerings, I was able to knock them right on out. Some of them, I'm working through it. You know, it's taking a little bit longer to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and even just like when something I missed, he told it to me, but all kind of stuff happened and I didn't have it written down. He wanted me to do a burnt offering every day of the 7 days. You know, I was so busy focusing on other stuff, making sure I had my food and all these other things, but it's written down now, I will never forget it. But I'm saying all that to say is that with everything that's been going on before the year of the shaking started, since we've been doing the Daniel fast and everything, he's been just dislodging or revealing those little lumps and those wedges, and it's all in preparation for what he's doing. And I think this is interesting that Peter, because I was just talking about Peter, I like Peter.
Me too. I like him too.
You know, but I love it because, like she said, Peter was the one to speak out and to speak up. And a lot of times it takes for us to be willing to be open about that feeling or whatever that thing is, so it can come up, so it can come out.
I agree with you. What I wanted to piggyback to something you said earlier today, you were talking about deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
And you were talking about deliverance, you said, you know, sometimes people are very casual with it, or they play it. And, you know, I'm relating that to, you know, the shaking, the sifting. See, the thing is, a demon is attracted to something like it. And so that demon could jump over there because there's something of itself there. So we have to go through that process to have those things, those likenesses, those things. It's like, you know, what is it that, you know, you attract an animal, catnip, you know, they're attracted to that for some reason. We got to have those things removed. Otherwise, you play around with deliverance, you yourself haven't been delivered, and guess what? They smell something of themselves.
Right, but this is why it's very important when you go to do deliverance, you don't just have everybody there. You have to really pray and seek to know, because God will reveal to you beforehand what's going to happen, and he will say, no, it's gonna be you, and you know, it's gonna be you and Holy Spirit, or it's gonna be you and this person, because not everybody can address that particular thing. You understand what I mean? And at the same time, it's about having on your armor, you know, knowing that God will protect you and so on and so forth, staying focused, because sometimes it's not that the person has that thing, it's the mere fact that they have fear.
Yeah.
They are afraid of deliverance. They're afraid of even seeing anything demonic. That alone will say, oh, let me grab one.
That's what I'm saying. Even fear is something of them.
Right.
So anything of them, they have a right. They can beat it.
Yep.
Because they have a right.
And in that as well, even if God, has chosen you to be part of the deliverance, you put on your armor, there are instructions to prepare because he knows what you're coming up against. Like fasting and allowing him to cleanse your soul, deal with your stuff. Like all that stuff becomes so important that you don't walk into something in your flesh and your strength and your reasoning. And we just talk about deliverance, but the reality is this harvest is the same way. As he's sending you into the harvest fields, he's bringing us into a daily lifestyle of seeking him and praying and being delivered and stuff. So that when we go, we're going in his spirit and we're not going in our flesh. So we won't say the crazy mess that we're thinking or that the enemy try to put in our minds. And we won't do it the wrong way and misrepresent him. And you preparing our vessels to be useful.
Nikki had said earlier, she said she takes some stuff because she goes into different places and, in and out different places and I guess, driving or what have you. And to me, that's kind of how I think of this process. It's like God is removing things that will make us susceptible, could be area of, I have a spiritual, natural, mature immune system kind of thing, and so we're going in if we allow the Lord to remove those harmful things to us. We're going into it strong. We're going into it where our spiritual immune system is, at peak performance in time. Now we can go and minister without, at the end of it, now we sick. Now we are depleted. Now we are, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We can continue to minister because, our spiritual immune system is up to par.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
We also gonna have to plead the blood over wherever we go, plead the blood of Jesus.
Yes.
Yes. It's covered before we go, and that's very important when we ask the Lord, okay, what am I to do today? We say, okay, what are you gonna have me to do today? And then plead the blood over so that when we go into those places, those demons, those spirits won't attack us.
Right. Absolutely.
Amen.
And you know the strategic plan for how he wants you to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bring it.
And that actually goes, that goes right into the third thing that we want to take the lesson from Peter for. You said, don't when you need to know the strategic plan. The third thing is Peter misunderstood the vision. And we see that in the very next chapter, Matthew 17, with the transfiguration. Where there, 6 days later, the Lord takes Peter, James, and John. Remember those three? We can talk about them later. That was like his inner circle. We see that a lot. He takes them onto this mountain, and the rest of the disciples stay at the base of the mountain. And on the top of the mountain, of course, Yeshua is transfigured. He reveals his glory. And then we see Moses and Elijah show up with him, and Peter speaks. And Peter says, it's good for us to be here. We will build a shelter for you and Moses and Elijah. And so we see one is misunderstanding there, which is important. We're going to see it again in a minute. When God brings us into glory, because in order to do this work, to launch out into the deep, we have to be in the glory. And that's in that word too, that I told you about. It's important. Like the glory is a big deal because it's in the glory that he gives us the things that we need. We don't, in this mind right here, now that one's low. In this mind right here, to rest in the glory. Rather than even trying to in the box, put Moses in the box, put Yeshua in the box. Y'all have a place, I'll make you a place. I'll put you in your place. He didn't even. How you gonna put him in a box? And then that's like Isaiah 66, what type of house would you build for me? Like, you know what I mean? And you can't contain me. Solomon says that you heavens can contain you. How much this house I built. And so he only builds, when Solomon builds, it's because God gave the plan. It wasn't because Solomon figured out.
What would be the motivation behind it? It was the glory was so great. He was like, y'all need to break it together. You gotta break what y'all stuff in.
The house of Elijah. He was probably thinking like that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, y'all know, for me, I tell you, I'm very selfish when it comes to bringing the Lord up. It's like,
We pray for on that.
That's okay, it's me and him. But there's a background behind that. which you had to hear my testimony. But anyway, when I read about that, I was like, God, I can't say anything against people. Because if you three came before me, I'd be down on my face and I would sit there all throughout eternity. It'd be like, I wouldn't want to go nowhere, and just be, let me just worship. Right here. Right. Until you give me instructions to go somewhere else. So that's learn how to see, because he's showing us in the midst of what they did. Yes. It's not that we can look at it and go, wow, he was pretty dumb for doing that. Right. You know what, this situation popped up and you were the same.
I don't think he was dumb, I thought he was smart. Honestly, because,
you know, but a lot of times people will preach, like this, the people love to talk about Thomas as doubting Thomas. Right. They love to just dog him. Right. He had where God is saying something, and we're supposed to have faith, and we want to flee. We want to flee. Well, Lord, if you say that way, God, make this spot right over here. This spot right over here. I want confirmation. Right.
is that, okay, so when the Lord passed over Moses, right? He put him in the cleft of the rock, right?
Yes.
He still was shining when he came down.
Moses was,
He was still shining because we're talking about the glory of the Lord, right?
Yes.
So you're talking about three, three that just straight out of the presence of the Lord right now. They all shining. Right. I'm gonna put a lampshade on that too.
Because think about it in this context. Peter is speaking Hebrew. Okay. So the word he would have used was, which is tabernacle. Build a tabernacle for you and for Elijah and for Moses.
And tabernacle with you.
So then I can tabernacle with you. And keep you here. Exactly. If we want him to live here, he needs a tabernacle. If we want him to dwell here, he needs a tabernacle. We don't want to be moving, we want to stay. So he needs a tabernacle.
Now I get it. Now I get it because the veil had not been so he was still based upon the time the temple was built. That one time a year, the high priest got to go and
nobody else could go.
The experience of glory.
I understand that. And that's why I said that y'all all kind of right, because he was saying glory is supposed to be in the tabernacle. It's not supposed to be out in the rock. Because when they put the ark, they put on the rock, them jokers died. They had to put it in the tabernacle. They couldn't have it out. They couldn't have the presence just out. People died when the presence was just out.
Even my comic relief is the truth.
It is. That's why you make careful what you say out your mouth.
I just because my brain is going.
Truth be told, there have been times when we have actually long past praise, because I know all of y'all into that worship where it's like, it's me and you God have been in that place, because I know I've been there, when it's like, Lord, I don't need to go home, you can take care of Siobhan, you can take care of Sheree, I don't need to take care of nothing, let's just, I can say right here. Like, that's small.
It's right.
It's like it's me and you. So I can understand, that's why I can understand Peter being in that place of, okay. God said he had need of us in other places.
That's right.
And so that's what that's what I got from the lesson. Like, okay, I knew you could enjoy that and that's what you want, right. But I have need of you somewhere else to do other things. Take me with you.
Exactly. Yeah. One other quick thing before we move on, just to make sure everybody else keeps enjoying this. Does anybody have a portable charger? We have to call one of them.
See, I get you totally.
So now let's look at this, because this is going to confirm exactly what you just said, Nikki. Watch this. In the down the mountain, Yeshua ordered them, don't tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. Now, why did he give the timeline? Because he knew your raised back from the dead, the temple curtain is rent, the spirit goes forth, y'all receive the spirit. The way you think about my glory is going to change. But I have changed the way you think about my glory. And this is key for all of us, because he is still, the places where we're launching out into the deep, he is still changing the way we see our service in that community, in that area, in that region. So what we got to do is we give what he tells us to give when he tells us to give it. But some things he'll say, store that up. You're not ready to give that yet. They're not ready to receive it yet. I got to give you more on that, because there's more understanding that must come with it. This part is long term. You just write it down and you pray until I tell you that that's ready. Because Peter wasn't ready for this one. It was supposed to happen at this time, but he was not ready to get the testimony on it yet, because he did not yet have the full understanding.
That's good. And that goes back to God being the one to set apart things for us. And what's related.
Right.
That's right. And him being really giving us the timing like
Right.
he's the source.
Because we can't determine that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough information to determine the right time. Yes.
Because it makes me think about Joseph, Joseph sharing the dream that he had and what it brought about. He shared it too early.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was immaturity, but no one told Joseph not to share.
Right. But still, this is the he completed. He's like, John Peter, don't you go off at the mouth. So let me stop you there.
Right. Not time yet.
Young and
Not time yet.
Not ambitious. Those.
So let's look at number 4. Go to John 18, verses 10 through 11. John 18, 10 through 11. Synoptic Gospels that actually identifies Peter as the culprit in this one. The other ones say a person.
This
A
is
disciple.
number 4.
Number 4. Number 4 is that we fight the battle in our own strength. That's what we're learning not to do from Peter in this example. This is John chapter 8, verses 10 and 11. And this is how I read. This is when they're in the garden and the detachment of the soldiers comes to get Yeshua. And it says, this sword drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me? Now, what I'm mentioning here is Peter knew how to fight certain battles. This was a very new thing. This was something Peter had never experienced. As a fisherman, he knew how to fight a battle as a fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
He knew how to fight a battle as just a regular Israelite. And Yeshua, even before this, had asked them, do you have any sword? This boom, sword, it wasn't for that time. This was for Acts. This wasn't for now. And so it's important to understand that where God is taking us, he has to teach us how to fight in that place. We know how to fight in the place we're in. There's a different strategy for fighting when it goes to the next level. What's the Bruce Lee movie where he's got to fight different tactics going up on the different levels? Game of what?
Yeah.
Game of Death, yes. Where he has a yellow jumpsuit on.
Yes.
And he fights all the different styles of
I love
fighting.
that movie.
And the point is, you can't fight a karate master. You
Or somebody tall like a real.
or somebody ball like Freedom George's bar. Exactly. His tactic had to change.
Yes.
Exactly. If his tactic didn't change, he actually the point of that through Bruce Lee was to any situation, any opponent, anything that came, and he was proving it through that movie. All of his books. This pose, this position, this way, that way, it's not gonna work in every fight. You gotta be able to preserve, you gotta be able to work with it and move with it and flow with it. That was what he was teaching. That's how he taught completely. He had integrated styles in his method. Point being, we're going up higher levels. If we try to fight on level 3 the way we fought on level 2, we will lose. That was Ivan Drago and Rocky Horror. Yeah, we can't do it. We had to change fight. Rocky had to go to Russia to play in the fight Drago. He couldn't train in the United States. He had to change his whole environment to beat the Russian because he had to be in that environment in the cold, on the mountain, with the wood and the chains. And he had to change. He had to get out of his comfortable California lifestyle. He couldn't beat that Russian California lifestyle. He had to shift. What you say? He was from, but remember, he had moved to LA. The palace to Palace, the mansion in LA. She wasn't even a street fighter from Philly no more. That jumper was a rich dude in LA is what he was. He was comfortable. He had to shift because he didn't even know this fight. This is a new fight. Yeah. So for us, it's the same thing. You might have some back history because he had to tap up Philly. He had to definitely go back to Philly a little bit. Yeah. But he still had to learn something new. You see what I'm saying? He got a new trainer now. Apollo's trainers training him. So now he got Apollo's style and his style. Like stuff started to shift. And this is for all of us. My point is, I like to fight movies. So I got to fight.
I'm with you there. And they show him in different environments where he.
Which one was that?
Is that Shooter? Yeah, Shooter.
I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, you gotta see it.
Okay.
So there's a scene where he's in the snow on the mountain. You can't. He's changed up. Yeah.
And it's like, I saw that. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I saw that other guy, American Sniper, also amazing. Yeah. But yeah, if you're not able to adapt and grow, and you're not listening to the way you gotta fight this fight, because there's going to be a fight on this level. You are right. I mean, she's like, you learn as you're equipped for that level of warfare. God is beautiful. He'll take you in the way. Peter just sword. It's just ready to go.
Well,
we gotta watch.
But Peter thought it was the same scenario, like you said, which was for him to respond like the same warriors or soldiers. It's a totally different environment, so you have to respond differently.
Right. This is why the thing we've been talking about this whole time is our eyes are on the Lord, just what the way the Lord is moving. God is talking to me differently in this season. He's approaching me differently. He's calling me to do different stuff, eat different stuff, go different places. I mean, I'm gonna need to shift. I'm watching him. I see what's happening. I'm watching Israel. Different stuff is happening in Israel. Stuff is shifting. The tax pocket coming again. Wait a minute. Oh, the government's being shut down. Wait a minute. That didn't happen in Israel before. New stuff happening. They got new political that never existed in Israel. We're on another level. Something new is happening now. Israel's always a prophetic picture of what's happening. So we get these senses that things are changing. And it's good. You have to tell your soul it's good. Because you cannot go to the next level without change. Somebody that we let him change. Just think of change as transfiguration. His transfiguration was a change. If somebody didn't want change, they would have missed the glory. Being glorified. That way.
I'm not recognizing
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I'm maybe, you know, enemy or something or whatever, something other than what it actually is.
Right.
And so sometimes, you know, it takes me a little time to catch up, to realize what's actually happening, and then what great about the Lord helping me to recognize it quicker that, you know, when it's Him, all the thing I imagine.
I didn't tell you what I did. And he'll show you quickly in the word. And you see they going, that's there? I know. Yeah, because I know that that's a thing, you know, saying, well, I'm not sure.
That's exactly.
That's great.
That's, yeah.
Lord, tell me what's
No, I mean, it doesn't. It's like, okay, are you done? You know. You done? People give me a
See myself and all these tears there that I can't do nothing but start laughing.
I'm like, okay, I'm done.
This is what I
It should be
do.
on side.
I get that too.
Don't work.
That is so
Don't work.
I'm like,
Let me tell you why the crying works for me. The crying works for me because it breaks down the independence. When I'm fighting in my own strength or trying to figure it out in my own strength, or even if internal, I done screwed up something. I know I did. You know what I mean? If I do work that boom, 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 then finally the waters are still. And then it's like, okay, now. It's like, now condemnation is gone, because I done confessed everything since I was in kindergarten. You know what I mean? Now, even if the enemy was attacking me, it ain't important, you know? At this point, so now you can tell me what you need to tell me, because all that stuff that was distracting me from understanding their purposes, they're not even elements anymore. That's
I mean, it works for me, but it's a thing of he reach my wits end when I'm at the point of I'm like hyperventilating, crying, that kind of thing, and then it's like, okay,
and what's so beautiful is because daddy knows his kids. And it's funny because I have kids who have had little temper tantrums, little fits, but we don't allow temper tantrums in my family. You get whooped for that. So what they would do is they would just cry like something was wrong. Because they couldn't have a temper tantrum, they couldn't have a fit like other kids. They could just be like, oh, and my mom was like, oh, what's wrong? I did, but I told because that's my child. You see what I mean? But when they really are hurting, he really is in pain. See, I can tell the difference as a parent. Everybody else is, oh, I say, yeah. Behind the tears. You know what I mean?
Additionally, every time I get low, yes, there's a break-in. It's just something about getting low alone. I'm telling y'all, something about getting low. We have community too. Let's not forget that. He said that iron sharpens iron. Yes, so when we come together, that is another way to reflect an image of responses that we've been doing, and but a community of believers at that.
Yes.
Community of believers. He said it's a reflection of him. Rabbi said this last time. Let's see if I can capture it. It was a good statement that the Lord released through him. He said that if you're seeing something that irritates you, it's a reflection of you. And so it goes back to what you said with the frustration piece. The world that's mentioned in Deuteronomy, but to be frustrated in his presence, a place to come to release why it's been happening, I think is more important. Like you were saying, why is it happening? We'll cry now. Why is it happening? Why is it happening? Goes back to Matthew. Like a God, like everything, how it comes, you may not like it, but he gave us everything.
Like for you, you crying puts you in the place that you need to be. You crying doesn't, you got.
It starts the process, because at that point, I'm done, like, I'm at wit's end, my hands are thrown up, I'm like, forget it, you know, and that's where it starts.
Similar in that sense. For me.
Sorry.
But,
Right.
because, you just don't trust me, so go ahead, but you won't sit there until you get to the point where you acknowledge that you're not going to trust me.
When I'm at the point, see, I don't like to cry. I was raised not to cry. So when I'm at the point of crying, like she said, I didn't confess everything from when I could remember, what I can't. But he knows at that point, that's a breaking for me. You see what I mean? But where he has to get me to is to be quiet so that I can hear him. You see what I mean? Because somewhere along the process, I try to figure it out because I'm a problem solver. So naturally, I try to figure it out. Well, I got part of the, you know how you get part of the instructions, but you get all of it. Let me know. And that is in my own way. That is another way of saying that. And so therefore, he knows how to break each child. And I don't want to use the term breaking because I don't see breaking as a bad thing, but he knows how to humble each child to get them to come to the place of I fall asleep.
Yeah.
And that's what he needs. Because it's all that. Ain't nothing left. My husband comes and he'll say, well, here's another roll of toilet paper gone, He knows what it will take, you know what I mean? And so everybody has that, and you have to know what that is, but at the same time, you have to be willing. Yeah. And I know a lot of times men, but a lot of times men don't want to go to that place because they don't feel like they need to, or it feels like you're not getting a man for crying out.
Well, it's true. When we talk about stiff-necked people, stiff, just. Sometimes both. Yeah, just, and so he.
Yeah.
Wear my
It's
stuff
the best
out.
sleep I ever had.
Yeah, best sleep. And then I wake up and I forgot why I went to sleep. And then I'm like, think about that thing again. I'm like, what was I stressing myself over?
I'm refreshed after.
Yeah. But that's me, because he knows I'm like, push, to dang on me, kill myself.
But see, that serves a purpose. I always tell them it comes back, but it serves its purpose.
Yeah.
See, like this stiff that serves a purpose in evangelism. It's like you say, you get love. See, and it's wonderful. I'm powerful for everybody else. It's me, that it's like.
You know what I was trying to solve? You know what I was trying to do? No. My motorcycle.
Why? Because you were lying. You were lying. You were doing lying. You was feeling entitled.
Yes.
That, no, wrong.
Man, you don't know nothing about it.
How God deals with y'all and all the stuff like that. I think it's, I don't do it enough to be in front of him as much as I should. And it's a lot of cleansing when it happens for me. Yeah, because you got some backlog, right, yeah. So having that opportunity to kind of, it's kind of like, if you were to go to a counselor, going through the motions, but eventually like you break.
Yeah.
Hit on something real.
Right, you can hit on something real. Well, in my case, I know in past times, I wouldn't go to that made me think, you know, so that opportunity to really just talk to God and just all that, you know, just to struggle. But the times that I do is the times where God is like really healed, purged, you know, all of that type of stuff. To really just, you know, get through it. But mine's come with spending time with him, being able to cry and to be able to worship.
Yeah, that's it. I used to be like that, and I learned to just. You know what I mean? Because, for me, I say I hear quicker and I hear faster. He can correct me better. He can correct me quicker. I'm willing to just come before him. You know, now that term. I wasn't using that term before, and I would just say, okay, Lord, it's time for a snot and tear session. But I'll use the more eloquent term, let my heart break now, you know. But I find that when you go more often, you'll find that he can guide you and address certain things a lot quicker and faster. And then it keeps the enemy, because the enemy will use those acts.
Yeah, I think it's funny though when you talk about that, and you said that, and I'm saying that too, because I remember one particular time, I was laying across my bed, being selfish, asking God for something, and I was praying, I was crying, I was crying, and he told me it was the Father that was loud, and he said, don't tell me what to do. And I went like flat like this, and I went, okay. And I went to sleep. But this is the reason I stopped. And my mama and the Lord, as long as he still talking, is when you quiet, then I'm like, okay, did I do something? What's going on? Like, that's it. But as long as you talk to me, I told you, I'm like Ken Fulton's grandson said, I'll take a rebuke. As long as you talking to me,
That's real. He's still being gracious and merciful. He talking.
I know you got me, and it's okay.
That's right.
I'll never forget it. When he told me that, when I was doing it right for something. And I was
That's how I know that.
with a smile.
The Holy Spirit deals with me all the time. It's not far. Because I imagine my mind, he's like, I'm having choke. Because,
See, when you speaking from a dad, that's how dad would respond.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dad just look at you.
Yeah.
oh, remember that time when he did that to me? I picked the scroll and he just parted like that. I seen the eyeball like this. And I just like scroll. I picked the scroll when the Holy Spirit gave it to me because I thought too, because I read it in the Bible.
Yo.